Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Early Bird, and today it is the Early Bird. Let's get on the games. We had two big ones yesterday, one in the East, one in the West, with a lot of implications long term, I think. Let's start out East. Okay, Panthers cruise past Bruins in Game 2, even Eastern second round. Well, look at the numbers. One-sided affair, folks. 33 shots to 15 for Florida. 48% on the faceoffs. Bruins 52%. The hits. The power play, 1 for 6 Florida, 0 for 3 Boston. Look at the hits in this one. 76 hits to 70 for the Panthers. Don't tell me the Sabres' 10-hit efforts would suffice in the playoffs, guys. We would get so killed by these teams. The giveaways, 12 blocks for Florida, 20 Boston, 14 apiece in the giveaways. Florida had 6 takeaways, and the Boston had 5. All right, let me wake up. Keep on going. Shots on goal per period. 7-6 Florida in the first, 14-6 Florida in the second, 12-3 Florida in the third, 33-15 total. One-sided affair, 26-9 the last 2 periods. Scoring. Coyle opens it up from Zach and Marchand. 1-0 Boston after 1. It's looking good as a Bruins fan. In that period, it did. And then they lose their legs all of a sudden, and Florida come on strong. Lorentz gets his second of the playoffs from Montour at 156, 1 apiece. Barkov makes it 2-1 from Reinhart and Ekblad at 9:49, halfway through the game, and I thought that was a big turning point, not because of the score. You might recall that's where McAvoy lost his stick, didn't have the brains to go pick it up, and instead he's playing without a stick. And who does Barkov have in front of him covering him when he scores? McAvoy, but with no stick. How's he supposed to stop him? I never understand players that do that, guys. It drives me nuts. 2-1. Then Forsling makes it 3-1 from Lundell and Montour at 19:58. Talk about a killer. We go to the third. Luostarinen makes it 4-1 from Barkov and Reinhart. That's pretty much your game right there. And then Barkov on the power play from Reinhart at 10:52 makes it 5-1. And then a shorthanded goal, Montour from Barkov and Reinhart at 11:58, and it's a rout. So the Bruins in this one, guys, just didn't have it. They just didn't have it. And the truth is, neither did the poster boy for goaltenders, I'll call him. I'm going to take a look at the numbers right now on that one, guys. I want to just go over that quickly since we got a few minutes here. Okay, in the nets, okay, let's look at Boston's goaltending. Swayman, okay, was 19 saves on 23 shots. So not a good night for Swayman. They did pull him. They put in Allmark, who made 8 saves and 10 shots. He didn't fare much better. So yesterday just wasn't happening for the Bruins whatsoever. I always say when you get a beating like this, it's easy to bounce back, guys. It's very easy to bounce back. We'll see if Boston does bounce back or if this is the beginning of the end for the Bruins, because this Florida team yesterday looked like they'd beat anybody on earth. They really just did yesterday. They looked that good. Okay, let's go out west. Canucks score 4 straight, rally past Oilers in Game 1 of Western second round. The numbers. 24-18 shots on goal for Vancouver, 63.5% on the faceoffs to Edmonton's 36.5, a wide edge there. 0 for 3 in the power play. The Oilers are 1 for 1. They were smart. They gave them 1 power play and no more penalties the rest of the night. Very smart by Vancouver. Decent hitting affair, I guess you could say. 35 hits for the Canucks, 31 for the Oilers. More of a skating game than anything. They had 12 blocks. The Oilers had 11. The Canucks had 5 giveaways. The Oilers had 4. The Canucks had 7 takeaways. The Oilers had 9 shots on goal. 10-5 Edmonton in the first. 11-4 Vancouver in the second. They take over the game. And as you see again in the third, 8-4 Vancouver. They just kept coming at Edmonton. Edmonton can only muster 8 shots the last 2 periods. Scoring. Hyman opens it up. And both teams that opened it up yesterday wound up losing in regulation. Hyman opens it up on the power play at 2:11, and that's the only power play they would give the Oilers in the game. Then Ekholm from Draisaitl. That was from Nugent Hopkins and Draisaitl, the first one. And then Ekholm makes it 2-0 at 15:01 from Draisaitl. Oilers are looking good. And then 2-1 Joshua from Cole and Lindholm. At the 53-second mark, early goal gets Vancouver back into the game, but then Ceci replies. About halfway through the period at 12:26 from Ryan and Nugent Hopkins. And what looks to be the dagger, it really did at the time, was Hyman again from Bouchard and McDavid at 13:11, less than a minute later. You got 2 goals in 1 minute. You figure Edmonton's got this game, but Lindholm replies from Joshua and Soucy at 17:01, getting an important late goal to get back into it at least before coming out for the third. They make adjustments. Here's the third. And JT Miller. And the Canucks clamp down on the Oilers. Make sure, again, they didn't give them much to do with anything, really. From Besser and Soucy makes it 4-3. We got a game. Zadorov ties it up from Bluger and Hoglander at 13:47. Game tied. The place goes nuts. And less than a minute later, Garland with the stunner, really, from Joshua and Zadorov. And the Canucks take a 5-4 lead and hang on to that lead. This is a game I'll say for Edmonton's going to be really hard to bounce back. I think the Bruins they can bounce back. They're going home, whereas Edmonton's still in Vancouver, and Vancouver wins the game that they probably should have lost. But for some reason, Edmonton just couldn't keep up with them in this game. So if you look at breaking it down, guys, Boston, they were due maybe to get hammered. I don't know what you want to say. It is what it is in a game like that. I don't think anything would have saved them yesterday. Goaltending, anything. They just had no legs going in that game whatsoever. But they were playing their game. They were still being physical and trying to make them, to punish them. But they were up to the challenge, Florida, and came right back at them with a physical game too. And in the other game, more of a skating affair. The Canucks put on their desperate hats, they put on their rally caps, call it what you want, and they managed to get the job done. So Edmonton is in trouble as far as I'm concerned now. Edmonton's in trouble because they had a win, and when you lose games you should have won, usually you don't win the series eventually. And I know it's early, I know it's only the first game, but if you were to ask me my take on that, Vancouver looks ready now to beat Edmonton after coming back like that. So if Edmonton can somehow get game 2, we'll have a series. But if Edmonton can't get game 2, I'm really expecting Vancouver to go into Edmonton and split and have a chance to wrap it up in 5 all of a sudden. It's just the way it is in the playoffs, guys. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see the Bruins on home ice, what they do after a beating like this. I expect them to respond. I think they will respond. I think Swayman will respond. I think they'll respond. But if they don't, it could be the beginning of the end for the Bruins as well. So we'll see. All right, guys, done. Got to get about my day. I'll get this out to you. See you soon enough. Have a good one.